on? What's going on? Okay, so we're excited about these opportunities this week that we have playing Indiana, a team that we had two games with last year that couldn't have been different stories in each game. Our game in Indiana was probably the game that pushed in the NCAA tournament. Our game here was started out great and went south as bad as it ever has here. So who knows what we'll see tomorrow? But they got a talented team. Their backcourt is playing as good as any backcourt in the league, and their big boy is a really good player as well. So it's going to be a struggle for us to score. It's going to be even more difficult to defend because of the dribble drive and just attacking the basket, which we haven't been great at all year, and I'm sure they've seen that, and we have to be good and better in that area.
Brandon?
Hey, Coach. Looks like DJ is going to be attacking and defending that hole that Anunoby would have filled had he not gone down to injury. So, is it the plan really to exploit that fresh spot that Indiana's trying to figure out with the loss of Anunoby, or how are you approaching that area of the court?
I mean, we have a plan. We'll have different, but we don't know who's going to guard who. We do not know. Tom's done some really good things in the past against us that have changed up our attack rate in the middle of the game. But we'll see how we can score points. But we've had 2 days to prepare. We'll have 2 days to prepare. We can do some new things, but they'll have counters as well. So I'm not going to tell you our plan, but I do know that they got a good team, and we're going to have to work hard to score points.
James?
John, your team has been playing with a sense of urgency as of late, and now you're kind of entering like the meat of the schedule with 2 against Indiana, 2 against State, against Wisconsin. How much does that urgency ratchet up entering this stretch?
Well, when you go from the non-conference to the league, I think there's certainly things change their mindset. But then now when you go into the mid part of the season, I think people know that you can't keep losing games and expect to be in the hunt at the end of the year in your league or in the NCAA tournament. So whether it's a little bit, I don't think we've gone into any game because you can't lose to Central Arkansas and say, hey, we're an NCAA tournament team. So all games are important. At the same time, these guys know a lot of different people that play on these teams. They know how good Wisconsin's been lately. They certainly got beat by Illinois. We got beat by Illinois, so that was there. And now they know a lot of these Indiana kids, and those 2 games last year were really, told a lot about the passion between the 2 teams. So I think people are amped up, and it could continue to go all through the year.
And then with the way the team has trended the past 2 games against Wisconsin, how much can this team go forward to kind of suffer a setback or take a step back?
Well, as you hear me say many times, there's no one game right now that you say is a must game that if you lose it, let's cash in the chips. But these are important games right now. These are really important games that everybody's. If you look at this league, there's a couple of teams out front, and maybe it's been their schedule, maybe it's been just dumb luck, or maybe it's been great play. Who knows? But it's a long way right now from determining who's going to win the league and who's going to be in the NCAA tournament because of everybody's got 11 games or so left.
Over here with Zach.
You got a couple additional days that maybe you hadn't had earlier in this month, between and you got to see, your team got to see some of the things you've been preaching kind of pay off on Saturday. Do you like the bounce that they had in those extra practices?
We needed that. Now we didn't. We thought it was really important when we hit those after the game that a couple of our guys get extra time off. Just lift weights, go through rehab, and really rest their legs. We got some guys with some volume on them. But yesterday's practice was good, but other guys, it also took time for us to work with our younger guys and the guys that don't play a lot. So we tried to utilize this the best we can. Yesterday, with some of our guys, they had almost 2 days off, even though we did some slight things with them on Sunday. We didn't practice very well, but that happens a lot when you have 2 days off. I don't know why. You shoot the ball well, but you don't make good decisions. And hopefully we can bounce back today and be better in practice.
Chris?
On the surface, you look at the last 2 games, and it looked like the defensive effort and a lot of the things you were trying to do was good? When you watch the film, were you seeing a lot of that as well?
Yeah, I think that we did have, Illinois did have some unforced errors that we'll take credit for, but who knows? The way we have to, our defense just seemed to have just I'm telling you, it's the slightest change can change a team, whether it's this team or not, with just that level of intensity, that level of togetherness on defense, that level to be physical on defense. Just, you see very few of our guys get blocked. They might have a hand check, but they don't have a block on a drive on the ball. And if you just open it up and let them drive, that we can't do that. And so I don't like the foul, but those are fouls we got to get. So we're trying to continue to just try and stay in front, but we're talking just sliding your feet may be a big difference in the season.
Brandon?
What are your recollections from that crazy run last year at the end of the first half? And is it something you can use tomorrow?
Yeah, it was, I think we got out big. We were really rocking and rolling at the beginning, and they could do it again now because they got a lot of shooters. Because they had shooters at 4 positions, and they can do that again. And just getting in transition, Yogi and Troy Williams just flying up and down the court, and other guys just spotting up. So now with Johnson, with Blackman, can all do that. That they just have a lot of weapons again. They patched any holes they've had in graduation. They've really done a great job, or in the NBA. They've done a great job in patching those areas. So they're loaded with good scorers, that's for sure. But they probably don't have the experience that they had in the past of just those big game minutes. They've showed it some games. They've showed it, but I'm sure as the years goes on, Tom will try and shore that up and get them solid in every area.
And when you mentioned Blackman, when you see a guy like that coming off of the game that he just
Yeah.
had, where he was just white hot,
Yeah.
is there even more emphasis, perhaps, like in those first opening minutes of denying the ball,
Yeah.
stuff like that, just to not let him get that first look?
We believe in that. We believe that if some guys, you let a guy just get it going, as you know, there's a mindset to that. There's a zone people get in. And if they can get into it, I don't care who's guarding them. Michigan State plays pretty good defense. And they were right in him. And he hit, was it 5 in a row? 4 in a row? It was, but they were all contested shots. And you try to get him from doing that by don't making the mistake of giving him a clean look to get himself going, because then he can go into a zone that is incredible and as good as most real shooters can get to that. And we've seen it from Stauskas, we've seen it from different shooters, Tim Hardaway, and we'll forget the Ohio State game where he just made like 4 or 5 in a row a few years ago. They get there and you can't stop it, so you don't want to let them get there.
John?
You touched on the Big Ten, but Indiana kind of stumbled out of the gate. Michigan State's going through it. To what extent do you have to remind the guys on your team that you just have to hang in there through the rough stretches and survive that and move on?
We made a great point with everybody as we go through all these things. North Carolina State just got the tar beat out of them at North Carolina. And the next day they're winning at Cameron. Marquette, right? What they did last night. This is a long season, and no, you just can't get too up. You can't get too down. You got to enjoy the season. You got to enjoy your year, but you got to attack every game like it's your last game, because anything can turn a game, and any game can turn a season around, and that's got to be our mentality now. And I think it is right now.
Anybody have anything else?
In terms of, Billy said when he was on the radio last week that Xavier is your best on-ball defender on the perimeter.
He's one of the better ones yet, yeah.
Is that, in a situation like this where you get so many guys and you gotta get up and
Yeah.
down and you need quick
Yeah.
guys, is that an opportunity? for
Yeah,
him?
I think this is a great opportunity for him to get in there and not only give people rest, but also to just go in there and guard people. Like most freshmen, they get a little handsy and could get some unnecessary fouls, but he's done a much better job with that. You saw earlier in the year. But even the Wisconsin game, he was fronting the post and he wrapped his arm around and it was a careless foul. But he has the feet to be able to do that, so that's something that we want to utilize.
You seem more comfortable playing him and Jared together?
Yeah,
now
I
than
don't
recently?
mind doing that, yeah, we have to do that, we gotta continue to just find rest for people and get better, continue to grow in options when people are, it's better than playing a tired player, trying to get somebody fresh and give them a few minutes.
Jay?
Your two former assistants, Bakari and Lavelle, will be facing each other Friday.
Yeah.
What do you think about the job they've been doing at Detroit Mercy?
I follow, do I have 8 or 9 head coach? I have a whole bunch of head coaches out there, so I try and follow it the best I can. I try to follow my guys in the NBA. It's like virtually possible and have a life. And so I have been following their scores a little bit. I had originally planned, well, that's a game I'm gonna make, but I think I'm going away recruiting that day now, so I'm not gonna make it. But it's really fun to see what those guys are doing as my other guys that are out there. Usually it's Sunday morning, and I have some time maybe to just look at how my Division III guys, my Division II guys, my son's doing, everybody's doing, how's the season going for these guys? And that's where I sort of catch up. But I'm proud of both of them, and I think Bakari's being really innovative right now with just changing his defense and just trying to create an up-tempo game. Val had 2 back-to-back last-second wins. I mean, back-to-back, and so it's great. I'm happy for both of them.
Did you give any of those guys advice before they took over this program?
No, yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about it, but I think there's very little you can say to them. If they ask me for it, I will do it, and it's never as, I always tell anybody, your team's never as bad as they look, and they're definitely never as good as they look. And just continue to coach and just try and make them better. That's my standard one to all my guys.
Zach is usually your guy who you put on when there's a key player, to try to shut down.
Yeah.
The balance, I mean, is he getting better with that balance of having to put the physical energy into defense and still be able, because you guys obviously need him on offense?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's never was asked to do that until the last couple of years. And he likes that challenge. I like the dog in him when it gets to me. I mean that from a positive standpoint. He will embrace this challenge with whoever we assign him to in this game. So I really like, I just like his mindset. What we just have to be careful of is him getting so tired that all of a sudden he's short on his jump shot or he doesn't finish at the rim because his legs are gone. So, because he does play really hard when he's trying to guard somebody that he's got he takes those matchups personal.
So you monitor that and then you switch him off?
Yeah,
or something like that?
and if you switch, we will switch, bounce, do a lot of different screens against some teams. So then he'll get a rest sometime on defense, but that's what good players have to do. They got to embrace both ends of that floor, even when they're. Ideal world, you'd like your best player to guard their worst player, your best offensive player to guard their worst player. That very, very rarely happens.
We'll close with Brandon.
Your defense, our perimeter defense has improved the past couple games. When you look at, the way Illinois shot the ball last game, and Indiana seems to be one of the most accurate three-point shooting teams,
Yeah.
and takes a lot of threes per game. Do you think this is going to be the ultimate test of how well that defense has improved, and do you think you guys are there to at least kind of contest Indiana on the outside?
I think every game that you play is a new test. And it could have to do with your schedule, your travel, all those things. But to maintain that persistence, do it for 30 seconds. Some teams you don't have to guard for 30 seconds. That shot's going up quickly. There's all new tests all the time. Indiana's dribble drive and three-point shooting are something that we don't see a whole lot of. And so as a result, that's going to be a test the whole time. I don't know if it's going to be a defining point where we are with our defense right now, because the offense is a little different than what we see, but we'll do our best and see where we get to and improve from it. If we have to play them again, if we do play them again, improve them by the time we got to go down to Bloomington.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.